Hey, this is for the guys on PB Nation who kind of wanted to know how to do the customizing of the grips on the Etek here. So basically I've took the grips off already. Put the marker aside. And first things, you're going to need a safety pin, a toothpick, some caulking, and a caulking gun. Found this stuff works pretty good. It's a DAP. You want to get something that is a mixture of caulking and silicone. Silicone, it has more adhesion qualities than the caulking itself, so in the end it'll work better. You don't want to use just silicone though, because it comes out with a shine, like a gloss finish, and it attracts dirt pretty good, and you don't want that. You want to get something that's exterior. It's got to say caulking and paintable. That's the stuff you want to use. This is DAP. It's what we have in Canada. I got the aluminum gray, and it works pretty good. Also, you will need a Ziploc bag, and I don't know if you can see it, but I went and cut just a little corner off of here, and you'll see why in a second. And then also, finally, a wet rag. This is just an old rag I use for work, and it's ready. So here, you're just going to open up the Ziploc bag, and whichever corner you cut it in, you want to stick this in here. Basically squeeze and fill it up. I came up with this idea because a caulking gun isn't too accurate. If you're trying to work on something, your hand's, 16 inches away, it can be troublesome. So I came up with this idea that actually worked really well. I'm really happy with it. So you just kind of twist it up, and basically the same idea of the same thing a cake decorator uses. And I can just squeeze this and a little bit comes out, and it's a lot more accurate than the caulking gun. So here we have the Etek grip. You're basically just going to squeeze and fill up this gap here. Oh, first, sorry, forgot to mention, I used the safety pin, and I don't know if you can see it, but inside I had basically cut a bunch of grooves inside with the safety pin. Basically just textures this up so it adheres better. Okay, so I'm just going to squeeze it in. You don't need a lot, and you don't want to put too much, but you don't want to put too little. You squeeze it up, push it in there. Oops. Don't worry if you get it on the sides, you're going to wipe it up anyways. Basically like that. So you use the wet rag, and you just kind of wet your finger. Caulking won't stick to your finger this way, it makes it easier to spread it out. Just take your finger along the edges, and a little bit at a time. I'm just wiping it on here. It's an old towel, and I don't care. Just a little bit at a time, wipe it up. If you spread it around the outside, don't worry. It's pretty easy to get off if you want. Fingers dry. So I got that in there pretty good. Made a bit of a mess, but that's okay. Work it in there. Oh, I missed a little in that corner. Squeeze it there. You just work it a little bit at a time. So you get nice and round. You want kind of a concave in there, so it'll still give you some kind of grip quality. I don't want to fill it up all the way. You just work it until you're satisfied. If you see, I see a little fingerprint in there, so I'm going to wipe it around. Make sure your finger's wet, or else you'll get lots of fingerprints, and you don't want that. So use the rag and get off all the excess. This stuff dries pretty quick, so I took out too much there. Take out too much, just a little dab. Stuff dries pretty quick, so you want to do one at a time. And just like that. That's pretty much done. You'll see I still have some around the outside. You don't want to fiddle with it too much because you end up screwing up what you just did. If you leave it, let it dry, it's a lot easier to get it off when it's dry. It'll stick together. If you try to work it around, it'll spread it out and make things harder for you. Also, you see this is kind of textured, and this areas of the grip, these areas, they're textured too. If you get it in there, don't worry, just kind of let it set up and scratch it off. Just make sure you don't have a ridge connecting the two, because when you go to scratch this off, you'll end up taking it out of here as well. When I first did it, I had originally filled up all these grooves as well, but it just looked too busy. There's too much color, and I didn't like it. So I ended up removing it. And just to remove it, you can use a toothpick. You just slide it across like so. Like that. And it comes out pretty easy if you want it, get it out. It works pretty well caulking, I find, because you could take the grip off and it stretches and moves and, you know, it doesn't come off.